On your right hand side, like we have at the moment, then we have the right of way. We always turn away from the ridge, and if we want to overtake somebody, we always overtake them on the inside. Notice that I'm just following the top of the ridge line here, but the nose is actually pointing out into the centre of the valley, so we'll just make an adjustment for drift. I'm actually trying to get the main wheel tracking along the top of the ridge line. Do not let yourself get drifted too far back into the curl over. If you ever look to your right now there, John, you can see one of the valleys that makes up the Black Mountains. Do not be tempted to go down there at all. If you go down there, there is nowhere to land, and you will break the glider. So always keep to the interwind side of the mountains. Keep thinking ahead, give yourself plenty of time. If you see any of the aircraft that are conflicting, then obviously make plenty of opportunity to move your glider out of the way. At the end of the day, use common sense. Let's have a look at the landmarks then. So coming round onto the nose now, straight ahead is Hay on Wye. The hill on the right here, just coming round to the right now, is Hay Bluff. And then we go back round to the left. As we sweep round, you'll see the Wye Valley. You can see the River Wye snaking its way through the valley. If wave sets up in conditions, northwesterly conditions like today, then generally you'll find the wave setting up more or less in parallel with the river, so you need to push out into the valley floor. On the left hand side we have Lord Hereford's Knob. Don't ask me why it's called that. And then looking further ahead, the airfield is now right on the nose. Okay? Now the other thing you might have noticed already is that the fields locally are very poor. If you try and put a glider down in any of these fields local to here, it's very likely you'll break it. So if you start getting really low and you think that you can't get back to the airfield, one of the first options you can consider is actually going out into the Wye valley floor. The valley floor is descending away from us from where we are, so it gives you more time, and as you can see the fields out there, especially around the river, are much bigger and much more glider friendly. If you try and land a glider local to here, you could risk breaking it. However, we do have two commons that we can use to land out on. The first one is just coming underneath the nose now, John. It's just ahead of us now. Common there is perfectly landable. So if you find that you're getting low, you have to make a decision as to whether or not you're going to get back to the airfield, because between the common and the airfield, the fields are very poor again. So if you don't think you're going to make it back to the airfield, make the decision and land on the common, or go down into the Wye Valley floor. It's important now that if we have any other gliders coming in the opposite direction, we have to give way, so we would be edging out to the right. Do this with plenty of time, so if the glider is coming in the opposite direction, it's obvious to them that they've seen you, you've seen them, they've seen you, and both of you are getting out of each other's way. But you actually have to edge out to the right and give way. What a great day. This corner here, it's just coming up on the left hand side, John, is Edas. We're then coming to the right slightly, John. We also have Talgarth town itself, just on the nose now. And then the airfield is coming round on the nose itself now. And then in the distance we have Langorse Lake, and to the left of that you have Mynydde Troy. So there's plenty of good landmarks locally to identify where the airfield is. Again, as I previously mentioned, if you have a look at the fields locally, you can see that they're very small, they're sloped, and they've got lots of horrible hedges surrounding them. If you try and put your glider down in most of these fields, chances are you'll break it. I'm accelerating the glider to 60 knots at the moment. So when we're below ridge top height, we want to have at least 55 knots in something like a K13 to give ourselves that bit more penetration if we need it, and to give us good manoeuvrability, because it could get more turbulent down here. Now, as you can see, I'm just coming up towards EDAS itself. I've got to be really careful that somebody isn't coming round the corner in the opposite direction. So although we have the right of way, I'm edging out a little bit, just so that I can have a good look round the corner myself. As soon as I think it's clear, then I'm going to be actually edging to the right towards the mountain itself. So I'm now maintaining a minimum of 55 knots, and I've obviously retrimmed. So here we go. It's clear for us to do so, maintaining a really good lookout, especially ahead of us. The other gliders at this sort of height haven't got much room to manoeuvre. And I'm now putting that wingtip in nice and close to the ridge cross. And what I'm doing is looking ahead, and I'm looking ahead at the contours of the ridge. You can see that they go in and out. But what I want to try and do is get that wingtip nice and tight. The tighter it is, the better the lift. You can see now that we've got a little bit of turbulence, which is why we want to keep a good bit of speed. I've actually accelerated the glider to 60 knots now. Anticipating the contour, so I'm edging to the right a little bit. Keeping an eye on that wingtip though, keeping ahead, keeping the attitude constant, 60 knots. Tuck it in nice and tight. And as you can see, we're now climbing up above ridge top height. Good burst of energy there, and up we go. That's 8 knots there, John. So now we're safely above ridge top height. Slow the glider back to 50 knots.